All right. You are now rocking with the best, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of the and new wrestling podcast. I'm, of course, your host, Katie Drummond. I am here with the one and only Mr. Patrick No C Walker, and of course, Josh Rodriguez. And we want to talk to you about the upcoming WWE PLE Bash in Berlin. We have been careening towards this ever since the end of SummerSlam, and we have several top matches that we want to kind of get our takes on and put down on record who we think is going to win. See if we can do a little bit of prediction game in this one. So let's start with the very first match that we're going to talk about, the strap match, the next iteration of the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre drama that is now going to have them connected with each other with a weapon, no disqualifications. Somebody has to go from corner to corner and tag each corner with the other person being drugged. I guess you can put them over your shoulder, but you have to take the one person around the ring with you in order to win the match. Pinfalls don't matter. None of that shit matters. Talk to me, No C. What do you see happening in this one?
Hey, you know what? First and foremost, this is going to be some entertaining shit. Period. This is the latest in the episode, or latest episode in the series of blood feuds that we now have with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. And long story short, man, I'm taking CM Punk in this one for a couple reasons. One, CM Punk hasn't won a singles match since he's returned to the WWE. He was in Royal Rumble, obviously not a singles match, but then he gets injured. He's out for several months. He comes back. His first singles match officially was against, guess who? Drew McIntyre, SummerSlam, with Seth Rollins as the special guest referee. He let his emotions get the best of him. CM Punk did when Seth Rollins had the bracelet, lost focus on Drew McIntyre, and it cost him in a pinfall loss. You can't have CM Punk lose his first two singles matches after returning to the company. So I think it's going to be a banger, an absolute banger. I think it's going to get brutal between the two because these are two guys who absolutely hate each other, and they're going to be tied together, and one has to drag the other around to touch all four turnbuckles. So yeah, man, it's going to be a banger, but I'm taking CM Punk on this one.
What about you, Josh? Who do you think is coming out victorious?
Well, it's very poignant, right? That a match between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk involving the bracelet, involving the strap now, kind of tying them together literally. It's brilliant writing. It really is. I think overall CM Punk has to get the win. Like Patrick said, he hasn't won a singles match since he's returned to the WWE. But I'm thinking more so it kind of it benefits Drew this loss to CM Punk because now he can kind of go on his way. CM Punk gets the upper hand. He's the face. But now Drew can set his sights on bigger things after this. I would want to see Drew in the World Heavyweight Championship picture going forward and CM Punk sort of start to teeter towards his legacy matches. You know what I mean? I assume that he's going to be one of the ones to face John Cena whenever he does his farewell tour, whenever that starts. And then also Seth Rollins, of course, is going to be the writing on the wall is there for CM Punk. So yep. I'm not necessarily looking forward to the quality of the match because something that Patrick has brought up, which is actually really, really, really true. I almost don't want to believe it. One, I don't like Patrick, and then two, I
don't blame you.
Get in line, bro. Get in line. Take a number.
And two, I don't like what I'm seeing from CM Punk in the ring. He's always good on the mic, and even there, it seems he's kind of resting on his laurels. Drew McIntyre calls him out on it, and he's like, I know what CM Punk's going to do. He's going to come out here and say his catchphrases. He's going to, talk about himself for 10 minutes, and, that's basically it, right? So coming into this match, I'm not expecting to see anything new from CM Punk, which is... Right. Which is disappointing. However, if he does put on a banger, I wouldn't be surprised because I'm just kind of waiting for that CM Punk to come back, and maybe the injuries kind of hindered him in that last match.
Well, let me clarify something to my fake hater, to Josh. He's right that I am right in that CM Punk's in-ring wrestling has for what we've seen, which is SummerSlam. It definitely was not there. Now you could categorize it as rust.
Even Royal Rumble too.
Yeah, Royal Rumble, that was lacking as well. I don't know if it's, age catching up to him, and some wrestlers age, better than others as far as in-ring ability. But I'm going to also give him a little bit of grace because of Rust coming off of going into SummerSlam, coming off of that medical hiatus. But that being said, I've seen enough evidence to believe that he's on the downside of his career. But when I say it's going to be a banger, I mean because he's strapped to one of the best wrestlers in the world in Drew McIntyre. And I think Drew McIntyre is going to, as far as physically, he's going to carry that match 100%. And he's going to beat the living hell out of CM Punk. And that's what's going to be entertaining. But in the end, CM Punk is going to find a way to win the match.
What I love about this entire ordeal, and I agree with both of y'all that it is time to turn the page on this rivalry. They've reestablished CM Punk. Drew McIntyre obviously has bigger things ahead of him, former champion, even if it was only for 8 minutes. But you can easily see him getting in, and they even teased it already, right? He was out there when it was Gunther against Randy Orton, and that's when CM Punk came out and beat him down. So they've obviously teased he's going to now be in that heavyweight championship mix. So I can't wait for that. But even beyond the kayfabe, I don't know if our viewers have seen the video that I put up of me and the 10-year-old wrestling fan from that went
check
to
that out.
SmackDown. Absolutely check that out because he is amazing. But in the dark matches at SmackDown in DC just last week, Drew Punk was there, and the crowd, like, we were on him. Everybody was chanting CM Punk to the point that we literally delayed the match from happening. They had an entire scripted match, and they actually had WWE personnel coming out to us in the crowd like, please stop doing it. They're trying to do what their skit is, and y'all won't let it happen. And we chanted CM Punk and bothered that dude for 5 minutes to the fact, like, we actually made him almost yeet. Like, this dude is frustrated. He actually got on the mic afterwards, and I'm sure this was kayfabe a little bit, but he got on the mic after he got his ass beat and was like, I can't believe you guys are chanting this guy's name. He doesn't go on these tours. He doesn't go on these, these smaller shows. He doesn't do dark matches. He doesn't do all of the things that I do in wrestling to make sure that the WWE is at its heights. He's just basically riding off his coattails, and y'all are still chanting his name. Like, I literally believe that through all of the storylines and everything, he doesn't like that dude. So I would love to see him. I would love to see him get him in a place where Punk can't run. And I actually am predicting that Drew McIntyre is going to win, and then CM Punk can go on and do his thing. So that's my prediction for this one. We'll see how it plays out. Next match that I want to talk about is another non-championship match. We have the Terror Twins versus the Judgment Day. And look, we know what's going to happen. We know there's going to be interference. Liv Morgan and Dom Mysterio. Liv Morgan can take on Rhea Ripley, but Dom Mysterio is obviously a handicap in and of itself. So we know there's going to be some level of interference in this match. My question for you all is there going to be a new wrinkle on the interference? Is there going to be something that we haven't seen for the last 4 weeks where JD and Finn are involved and there's something else coming down the pike in this rivalry? Or is it just going to be the same old, same old?
No, I don't think it's going to be the same old, same old. I think there's going to be a plot twist here. I don't think that it's going to be a clean match. Might not get a clean ending, but, whatever the case may be. I feel like there's somebody hiding in the wings waiting to assist the Terror Twins because, like you said, there's going to be interference. It's a foregone conclusion, right? You're going to have JD McDonough, Funko Pop is what I call him. You're going to have Funko Pop, and you're going to have what did Rhea call Carlito? Apple Boy, and and you're going to have Finn Balor. They're going to find a way to interfere. I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for the writers at WWE to throw everybody a complete curveball. And I actually don't know who it might be, but my gut tells me somebody's coming out of the wings to help the Terror Twins and then become like that third person, like they're kind of assist, right? From, going forward, leading to the next PLE. So I don't feel like it is going to be the same old, or at least I should say, I'm hoping it's not. But as far as predictions go, I feel like no matter what happens over the course of the match, interference here, interference there, I think the Terror Twins take this one, especially because the title isn't on the line as far as Liv's title is concerned. So after Liv has already beaten Rhea with the assistance of Dom, now you got to have the payback of especially in Finn turning on Damian and costing him that belt. Right. You got to give Rhea and Damian this victory to set up the next chapter in this particular rivalry.
What about you, Josh? How you see it playing out?
That's fair, but I'm actually not expecting to see very much out of this match.
But
no, that's totally fair, and I think I'd like to see that. But I guess my prediction more so would be kind of the same old with them. But I do think that the Terror Twins are going to pull out the win, because we still haven't seen Rhea Ripley have a pin, I think, over anybody since her return. So to me, they need that win. Damian Priest needs that win. But I'm of the mind of, like, I'm kind of ready to, it's not going to happen, but I'm of the mind of, I wish they would separate the Terror Twins going forward after this inevitability, because you're going to have Finn versus Damian Priest, no doubt. That's the kind of marquee matchup down the road. And of course, you're going to have Liv and Rhea. But part of me is like, they should and can and should go on their own journeys after this. I don't want to see. I mean, what is the appeal of Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley as the Terror Twins?
Right.
Unless it's going up against the Judgment Day. Like, what do you do with that afterwards? And they don't do the mixed tag matches anymore, the mixed tag challenges rather. So I don't know. I'm ready for them to kind of all go their separate ways. Of course, you're going to have Finn and Priest, but I need Rhea to kind of get on the women's championship run outside of Liv at this point, even though she has the belt.
Do you guys think, and maybe this is a question that we should be asking for another time, so maybe we put a pin on it and just talk about it quickly, with the changes that are coming to the network lineups, do you think that there are going to be some shifts as far as personnel on brands? And we can talk about it as we talk about, the next match that I want to discuss with Randy Orton. Obviously, he is crossed over from SmackDown into Raw, and we don't know whether or not that's permanent, whether or not, like, if he wins, obviously he's going to stay on Raw, but if he loses, does he go back to SmackDown? And we can talk about that later. But I was just thinking that about, like, somebody like Rhea Ripley. Like, if she does go out on her own and she does branch away from Damian, could she be somebody that goes to SmackDown and goes down that path?
I really hope so, but she is the face of Raw right now.
Right.
There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She's the biggest star currently on Raw. So I don't think they lose her.
Okay. I think that there will be a shakeup, and I think that it's going to be a tit for tat type situation. So,
future tit for tat.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
Tiffany
you really
and the tattooed Rhea Ripley. You know what I mean?
Really oh my god!
I like it. I'm going to use it as a headline if it happens. It's definitely a headline.
Oh my god! All right, that was a bar. Okay, that was a bar. I hate that I like it, but I feel like, yes, Rhea needs to go to SmackDown because SmackDown could most certainly benefit from her cachet. And I think, that being said, to Josh's point, okay, well, if you're taking that caliber of wrestler away from the Red brand, which is the flagship, who's going to replace her? I think you have to look at somebody like Charlotte Flair. And, when it comes to, if Charlotte's not ready, if Charlotte isn't ready if she's clearly not ready for Bash in Berlin. Unfortunately, she wasn't ready for SummerSlam. She may not be ready for Bad Blood. I think Survivor Series will be the next best thing between then and now and then, however you want to word it. But if you have Charlotte, let's say, come back at Survivor Series, but doesn't wrestle at Survivor Series, that sets her up for, a Royal Rumble. And then that's January, which is also when you're going to Netflix. Perfect situation for you to set up for Charlotte Flair's first in-ring action to be on Netflix. You do that, then yes, you can absolutely peel Rhea Ripley away from Raw and put her on SmackDown. But yeah, to answer your question, Katie, there will absolutely be a shakeup because you're probably going to, you might even need to see Roman Reigns go back to Raw for Netflix, because you're going to need, you're going to need that Netflix pop, that initial Netflix pop, to be as massive as possible from a business standpoint.
Absolutely. I love it. Let's take a break from talking about the matches before we get to the 3 championship fights that we have on card. And let's talk about some things. Do we see anything on SmackDown Friday night that you think is going to impact? Just really quickly, do you think anything happens on Friday night? Because the schedule is weird, right? They're in Europe, so the PLE is in the middle of the afternoon. They're obviously going to be filming SmackDown. It's not going to be, well, let me backtrack. I assume they're filming SmackDown during whatever the 24 hours before the PLE, and then it's going to broadcast broadcast at night. But do you see anything happening in that taping that would lead to a seismic shift? And I'm thinking along the lines of, do we see anything happen with the Bloodline? Because the Bloodline is on the European tour, but there's nobody on the Bloodline on this card so far, right? So do you think that there is something that might happen in SmackDown that will lead to an event for this PLE?
I'll make this one real quick and I'll toss it to Josh. Yes, I absolutely believe so. I don't believe you can have a PLE at this stage in the game without some type of bloodline on the marquee in some way, shape, or form. Hopefully, it's something that's more important than seeing, the Tongans go against somebody, whatever. But
Right.
I just don't. I mean, Roman is back. He missed last week because he got brutalized by Jacob Fatu. That means that was a perfect time because you're not going to send him on a 3-week hiatus, 4-week hiatus. So this week's SmackDown, which will air tomorrow night, I believe Roman returns, or there's some massive foreshadowing of his looming return, and that foreshadowing is for the Bash in Berlin. But yeah, at this point, you cannot not have the bloodline involved in the PLE.
Let me do a little bit of fantasy booking here because
let's do it.
Let me do this. This is what I want to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I really want it to.
Okay.
Let's say they book, because like Patrick said, they need to have the bloodline on that pay-per-view card, or sorry, PLE card. It needs to happen. And it's too perfect for Bad Blood to feature the return of Roman Reigns in competition in the ring. Like, that's too perfect. But we need to see the bloodline at Bash in Berlin. My pick is Bloodline versus Street Profits for the tag team championships. And we get the return of Roman Reigns to Berlin to interfere in that match and cost the Bloodline the tag team championships. That's what I would love to see. The Street Profits crowned at Bash in Berlin.
Cheers.
Yes, please.
I love it.
Yes, please.
I love it. I'm absolutely on board with that. Do we see any Wyatt 6 action, or are they not ready for PLE yet?
I think they're ready for PLE. I don't think that the WWE wants to put them in a PLE just yet. I think that they're really building them up to set them up for Bad Blood. I don't think that it could be a more perfect PLE to have them debut as far as that, that platform is concerned. Bad Blood, bring back Hell in a Cell involving the Wyatt 6, and that's perfect for me. But I don't see a scenario, especially being that they're on Raw, and we've already seen this week's episode of Raw, and there was zero foreshadowing of or a match booked that involves them. Chad Gable and American Made are not going to be at Bash in Berlin, and that's their feud right now. So yeah, I don't see Wyatt 6 showing up in Bash in Berlin.
Can I give y'all my fantasy booking?
Go for
Please.
Cook up.
Wyatt 6 interferes. It's the Wyatt 6 that helps out the Terror Twins, and that sets up their oncoming feud.
My God!
How sick would that be if the Judgment Day is?
Wait, was that a bar?
Cheating.
How sick would that be? Wyatt 6. My guy's cooking up.
The Judgment Day is doing their thing. They're interfering in the match, and then
I like it.
Lights go out, because nobody really cares who wins this match, right? I mean, it's not gonna matter to anybody who wins between Priest and Rhea and Liv and Dom.
It's just for storyline.
It's just for storyline, right? So what happens if they're interfering? The lights go out, the camera phones turn on, and the Wyatt 6 comes out there, and they start to get at some of the members of the Judgment Day, leading to Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell, all those sorts of things in just a couple months. Like, I think they're ready to turn the page on the Chad Gable. I mean, we still need Abigail versus Ivy, but that's secondary. I just think they're ready to turn the page and give them somebody else to point towards now that we've seen Uncle Howdy in the ring.
Listen, like I said, my gut tells me someone will come out and give a major assist to the Terror Twins to get them this win. If it in fact is Wyatt 6, my head's going to pop right off of my damn body, because I'm going to love every bit of it.
Yeah.
Give me.
Okay, let's talk about these championship fights. We have the women tag titles on the line, and WWE, please, by all means, just move forward with your plan to get more women's belts, because the tag titles being on every single brand that you have, miss me with that. But
need a women's intercontinental belt.
They need at least one more championship. I could even see them having tag titles on each show, but that's just me. We have the unholy union, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, and then we have obviously Isla Dawn, Isla, whatever. They're losing the belts. We have them going up against Bianca Belair.
Well, we just got KD's prediction.
Put some respect on Isla Dawn's name. Come on now.
We just got KD. Right, it's Isla.
I apologize.
Whether you like her or not, and you know how I'm about names.
I know. I just got jokes. Jokes. Isla Dawn. Do we see the tag team belts go back? And actually, that's not even my prediction. My prediction is that I think that we might get our Jade Cargill turn, but I just can't tell how they're handling Jade, right? I don't know whether they think she's ready. We talked about this in a previous episode, them rejoining the tag team when it looked like a clear opportunity to send Jade on her solo mission. Is this when we get the heel turn? Does something happen and Jade flips out, or at least the beginning of the heel turn and her separating from Bianca? What do you guys think is going to happen in this match?
Let me start. I'm going to say that Jade and Bianca win the tag team championships at Bash in Berlin, taking them off of Isla Dawn. And oh my gosh, I forgot her name.
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire. Thank you very much. At least he knew their names, and I totally forgot. But I will say, I think that's going to happen. I think it's inevitable that they're going to get the tag team belts again, because we need a little more history between Jade and Bianca before they finally have their inevitable split, before someone has that heel turn. I would argue that the swerve would be to have Bianca turn on Jade. I think that would be a little more interesting than Jade turning immediately, because the fans don't know her quite yet, unless you've been watching AEW. So I'm I need a little more history with them. I need to win the belts again. It kind of needs to be down the road where it's like multiple time tag team champions, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, before we start getting into the heel turn category.
Okay. I think Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair wiped the floor with Isla Dawn and Alba Fire for a couple reasons. And this is not necessarily a knock to the unholy union, but let's just be honest. Let's just cut the shit. The only reason they took the belt is because they were home, right? At Clash at the Castle. And you had a situation where Triple H knew that Drew McIntyre was going to get screwed in Scotland. He also knew that Piper Niven was not going to defeat Bayley. Okay. So one of those three had to win. Right. And it turned out, and of course, they used the one that was the biggest stunner, which, round of applause for them. I even commend them for letting Isla Dawn and Alba Fire retain the titles in several defenses from then to now, so it doesn't make it seem so obvious that it was a pandering situation. But now here we are. We're at another PLE after SummerSlam. They still have the titles. It's time for them to drop them, and they're going to drop them to, Bianca and Jade. And to answer your other question, or the other part of this question, I think it's too soon for the heel turn for either one of them, be it Jade, turning on Bianca, or Bianca turning on Jade. I think for me, there has to be a situation where they win these belts and then they, successfully defend them several times. And then suddenly at some point before Survivor Series, one of them costs both of them the belts, and that becomes the fracture that then grows into the full heel turn. Now, will it be Jade turning on Bianca? I think that's too easy. And I don't think it helps Jade as much as if Bianca turns on Jade. So I'm with Josh on this one. If Bianca turns on Jade, well, let me do it the other way. If Jade turns on Bianca, then it's Jade going back to being the bad guy. And yeah, she'll be over as the bad guy. And yeah, Bianca will get the sympathy and she will continue to be super face. Cool. But if Bianca turns on Jade, now Bianca instantly becomes mega heel, because she goes from super baby face to mega heel. And she would be, the amount of boos that she would get would be ridiculous, because it's
people
so
are dying
unexpected.
To boo her, right?
And then and then what that would do is now Jade becomes full face sympathy. So every time Jade comes out there, everybody wants Jade to win. They're cheering for Jade to win. They're always. I think it would just send Jade into the fucking stratosphere as far as her WWE career goes. So I think the bigger thing, the more important and the smartest thing to do would be to have Bianca turn on Jade. It helps out Jade, but at the same time, we will finally get to see an evil Bianca.
I love that idea, because it also sets up the ability to slide in. Jade and Naomi definitely have a chemistry, whatever you want to call it. So you can easily move Bianca to the heel side, and then you have Naomi and Jade, even if Jade still needs a crutch as a tag team partner, and then you could
That's
slide
fair.
Naomi into that role.
But then you would also get Naomi versus Bianca, right? So I mean, there are levels to this. So I love Josh's idea. For me, turn Bianca heel and let Jade prosper.
Yeah, I like that. Let's stamp that. Let's go ahead and call Triple H. Speaking of heel turns,
Paul. I call him Paul. No big deal.
Paul. Oh yeah. That's a homie. The homie Paul.
I call him Becky, and he goes with it. I'm like, hey, yo, Becky, it's no C. He's like, oh,
yeah.
No C.
Oh, what's up, No C? Yeah.
That absolutely happens. Becky, No C is how it goes.
Absolutely happens. That's what happens when you have an Emmy. So let's talk about a real heel turn that we do think is going to happen. I mean, is there any way that Kevin Owens isn't a heel by the end of Saturday night or Saturday afternoon? Is there any way in this match with Cody Rhodes that he doesn't turn heel? Like, what is it? What is the storyline? It's like, can anybody see this just being a clean, hard-fought match? They, at the end, they shake hands and walk out the ring together singing Kumbaya. Is that a possibility?
I do. I see it. I see the vision. I see the vision of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton having Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes having an absolute banger, and it's clean. Cody wins clean, and I think that just eats more and more at Kevin Owens. It's like, we gave you this shot. We said you were worth it. You lost again clean. The next night or the next Friday after that,
right?
It's eating away at Kevin Owens. Like, hey man, we're gonna have a meeting in the ring. Let's shake hands. Great match. That's when you fucking turn.
That's when he turns. That's beautiful.
That's when you fucking turn him heel, and you do it on a live audience. More people are going to be tuning in live for SmackDown than they are Clash at the Bash in Berlin at 10 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the bigger stage would be at the following SmackDown.
That's beautiful, because if he turns on him at SmackDown the following week, after that is when they change stations. So that would actually work. I kind of like that. What you think, No C?
Well, first of all, Josh was cheating off my homework. Because to the letter, he said exactly what I would have predicted was going to happen. But no, I mean, the way he laid it out is perfect. I can't add much to that, because that's quite literally what my call on this is. I think it's, number one, I don't think Kevin Owens leaves this match without the thought of turning heel. And then I think it manifests in the very next episode of SmackDown, like Josh said. And for reasons like you said, KD, because more eyes, it's live, it's cable, right? So you're going to have all those eyes. Sets up for the change over to the new network, going to USA in mid-September. It's too perfect, and it also sets up for, guess what, Bad Blood, right?
Yep.
So I mean, that's fantastic. I'm with that. As far as predictions, obviously. And I do say obviously because I don't see a scenario in any of the Earths in the multiverse, whether it be Earth 1, Earth 79. I don't see a scenario. This is not a Doctor Strange thing where he's like, no, I've looked at all the future outcomes, and every single one has Cody Rhodes defending this title. It's just too soon for him to drop it. He's not going to drop it at Bash in Berlin at all. So yeah, give me Cody Rhodes in this one, and he wins clean. It's going to be the best match of the night. Kevin Owens is going, after they congratulate each other, Kevin Owens is going to stand in the middle of the ring with his head down, kind of looking around, and he's going to give that whole aura of, I'm sick of this shit. And then he's going to get out of the ring and walk to the top of the ramp. He's going to turn around, look at Cody with this look in his eye like, okay, I'll see you later. And then on Friday Night SmackDown, he's going to do just that, smack him down. And then we're off to the races for Bad Blood.
Okay, last match of the prediction show. We only have 2 minutes left. Let's talk about Randy Orton versus Gunther, the Ring General.
The Ring General.
Who do you see winning? And is it going to be a good match? Just give me your quick impressions before we get out of here.
You want me to go first? Okay, so
yeah, go first. Go first, Josh.
No, you know what? I'm going first because you stole my homework last time. I'm going to go.
Okay.
But I also know that you don't agree with this one because we talked about this offline. I think this is a situation where Gunther wins because for me, it's too soon for Gunther to drop the belt. And I know we all agreed that we're getting tired of the long reigns with belts and everything. I get that. But if you talk about someone who has the the level of moxie and all the things that Gunther has. He finally gets his hands on the heavyweight championship. He's not going to drop it in his first defense of the heavyweight championship. As much as it pains me to say that, because I'm on record a million times saying I'm tired of waiting for Randy Orton to get his 15th. I feel it's disrespectful that he hasn't to this point. So is it impossible that he can take this off of Gunther? No, it's not impossible at all. I would love to see it. But from a storyline perspective, I also want to see this happen more than once. These two guys go at it more than once. And I think Randy Orton loses because Gunther does pin him cleanly this time after not doing it last time. And now Randy Orton doubles back and says, okay, you actually did get me this time, but I'm not done here.
Okay, Josh.
I really do agree with Patrick on every level there. But for the sake of diversity, I want to just pick an alternate route, because I agree with you. I think that's what's going to happen. But after watching Randy Orton's last few promos about this match, and this is because Randy Orton is just a fucking professional wrestler at heart. He just knows what the fuck he's doing. He's one of the best heels of all time, Katie. If you've not gone back to watch Randy Orton at the absolute worst human being in existence, you really need to do this, because his feuds with John Cena, I mean, like, heel Randy Orton is just on a different level. But this Randy Orton
is the legend killer.
Part of me is convinced he's going to win the belt. I believe Randy Orton. I really do. And that's because he's a professional. Those last few promos that he did about winning this World Heavyweight Championship, to me, has me convinced partially that he could most definitely go out there and win at Bash in Berlin, even though it's not for the better of Gunther's story. You know, it fuck his story. You know, part of me is like, I want to see an RKO in Berlin, in Gunther's hometown, and beat him 1, 2, 3. Like, part of me is like amped up for it, and I can see it. I really can. However, I think Gunther's just on a hell of a run, and I think that would ultimately, you know, this is funny, because when we were talking about Damian Priest, I was like, fuck Damian Priest. Like, Gunther's doing his thing. And I guess that just shows my
your disdain.
My disdain for old Damian Priest. However, I'm of the mind that Gunther's going to win. Of course, it's just, that's the way it's going to be. Just like Cody Rhodes winning, it's just inevitable. However, would love to see Randy Orton take that 15th World Championship in Berlin.
Would love it. But like you said, on top of everything we're talking about, Josh, and you can say it one more time, they're in Berlin.
Exactly.
They're not, WWE is not going to disrespect Gunther like that.
No,
that's what I was thinking. That just the hometown advantage. There not being anybody else local on the card, for this event. It just, like, there's no way that they're going to send all of those people home, especially because they've already planned next year's PLE in Berlin, right? That, like, we've seen some of that conversation already. So we know they're going back. We know they're going to give the fans what they asked for. So I do think that Gunther wins. I would love to see some level of twist where we get to see the next one, because I don't think Orton stays in Raw. I think he goes back to SmackDown after he loses this, and he returns to that. I think, honestly, that even though we're going to see the Kevin Owens heel turn, maybe all of this is to build up to that. Maybe not just is it going to be a Kevin Owens heel turn, but maybe Orton loses and he's returning to SmackDown, and they're both going to turn on Cody. And it's going to be who is in Cody's corner now, over the next couple of weeks. So I could easily see that being the next iteration of this whole, like, he loses everybody after them being at his defense for the last 6 months or whatever the case may be. He loses everybody on his side, and he is literally the last man standing. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Listen, and you're not off base there. That's not a wild prediction, considering several weeks back at one point this summer, do you guys remember SmackDown? It was Randy Orton sitting backstage talking to Cody Rhodes, and he said to him, he said, when you have that belt, and the way he said it, he was like, guys are going to come after you. And then he kind of paused. And everybody, all the WWE fans who were paying attention, because I remember we were having this conversation with those who follow And New Wrestling on Twitter. And if you don't, I don't know why you don't. But a lot of us caught it, which was the kind of like foreshadowing, wondering, is Orton going to turn on Rhodes. That was before we even thought about the Kevin Owens possibly turn on Rhodes because that hadn't happened yet as far as their match. So, yeah, I mean, you're not off base there, KD. So it could be a situation where the three besties end up being in a three-way feud for the title. And, man, just think down the line, like Survivor Series, triple threat match for the title. And that for Survivor Series, if it's Survivor Series and it's Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Cody Rhodes, I would predict Cody drops that belt.
Wow. Yeah. But he doesn't even have to get pinned to do it.
No,
right, exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly. That's what makes those three-way matches great, is that you can lose a title without even being the one that loses a match. That's I love that wrinkle. So we're here. We're less than 48 hours away at the time of recording to the next PLE. Bash of Berlin is going to be Saturday afternoon. We will be back. The four horsemen will be here to talk about the results of that PLE. So make sure you're staying tuned. If you haven't smashed the subscribe button, if you're just here off of a whim, make sure that you hit subscribe, hit notifications, so you know when the next video loads. And we will be back to discuss the results of Bash in Berlin. We're out of here. Salute. And